Let the past die. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
Darkness rises, and light to meet it.
So, if you could just kind of talk me through the process of getting here, because it must be the longest thing you've ever encountered in your career so far.
Oh, yeah, by far. Yeah, it was, God, 3.5, almost 4 years ago when Kathy Kennedy called me in for a meeting, and I didn't know what the meeting was about, and she shut the door and asked me if I'd be interested in doing this. It's been a long road, and it's been a very big, amazing, dense experience. It's one of those experiences where I can't remember before I was making this movie, but it's been a very good experience. I've had the time of my life doing it, you know.
I mean, how was it kind of waiting for it all to get started? Because I guess you must have had to wait to a certain extent for what happened with The Force Awakens to know what your role would be in things.
I mean, a little bit, but when I was hired, they were just about to start shooting Force Awakens. So when I was hired, there was already a script. So step one was I read the script, and I kind of dove right in. Like, it was just, okay, where should this go next? And it was figuring out where did these characters each go next? What's the journey that makes sense for each of them? And then while I was writing, I was watching dailies. I was watching the footage they were shooting, so I was getting to see the actors bring these roles to life and figure out what I was responding to in their performances. So, no, I kind of jumped right into it, right from the get-go, which was nice because as soon as you get your hands in and start working, the pressure kind of goes away and you're just focused on the process. It's before the work that you feel the pressure, I think. Yeah.
And how was working with Rian?
I'm so jealous of every single person in the future that gets to work with him. He is not only an incredible writer and director, but also someone who has this sort of childlike wonder that not many people have in the world. He loves what he does, and he makes it feel like you're just playing with your friends, which is a lot to say from someone who was new on this huge movie. He made it feel like home pretty immediately.
It was challenging to come back to a character without knowing the script at first and what it was going to be like, and not having worked with Rian before. But it was really it was a great experience to come in and then see how both excited he was, but also very relaxed and calm, and knew what he wanted, and just had a great way of guiding the tone and guiding the performance, and often asking for very specific things, which meant he was really watching, he was looking, and not letting any moment just kind of fall off, but to mine every moment for richness, which was great.
It's interesting changing directors at this point in a series. I mean, there must have been some trepidation about that, because you get used to one way of working and then every director's different, I guess.
But equally, you know, I mean, Rian took the very, very best of what JJ had created, and then had you know, put his own spin on it, which is amazing, and that's so he wasn't kind of, you know, sort of reinventing the wheel. It was very much taking JJ's energy and moving it forward, and then adding his own incredible style and verve and passion to it. So it never felt. I never felt that there was a huge sort of change at all. Did you? I didn't know.
No. They both had impossible jobs, and they both absolutely killed it, which I think is amazing. So yeah, it was just as exciting on this one.
For me, it was, you know, profound. To go to work and find yourself in space with characters that you grew up loving is a remarkable experience. And then to have it be an amazing, creative, collaborative time simultaneously was sort of shocking, because it's not what you expect, because it's such an enormous film.
As with every Star Wars film, the scale is incredible. How was it working with all that?
You know, I was afraid of that coming into it, because I've never done anything close to this size, and I wondered if that would make the process something different. And the big pleasant surprise for me was it didn't. It felt very similar, weirdly, to making any of the previous much smaller films that I've done. Because at the end of the day, the thing that makes it tick is the same, whether it's a big movie or a small movie. It's making the scenes work with the actors, you know. And to the extent to which the machinery was bigger, I don't know, because everyone was so good at what they were doing, all the department heads, it didn't feel like this big unwieldy machine I was trying to control. I didn't feel like Chaplin caught in the gears in modern times. I felt like it felt more like a Pacific Rim, you know, where you get in the suit in the head of the robot and it follows your movements perfectly. That's more what this big machine felt like, you know.
When you see films, the scale looks big enough. What's it actually like to be there? Because it must be quite something.
It is something. It's
The sets are extraordinary.
yeah, because so much of it is practical, you know, and so they build these huge shuttles and the ships and these massive hangars in Pinewood. So it is. I remember the set of Canto Bight, that casino.
Those creatures.
Yeah, where you just had hundreds of actual animatronic creatures and aliens and people in little suits. And, you know, I wasn't shooting that day, but I went a couple times to watch them do that just because it was, I mean, I think it was one of the biggest sets that they've ever had up there.
There's a lot of characters that I don't really meet each other. So when I wasn't in the scene, I would still come and watch people on set, right? So what you're talking about in terms of scale, a lot of this movie is just there, like it's there. Like all the creatures that you see are actually being operated, and you can see them moving while you're acting with them. The sets are so real and so incredibly done and designed that you do feel like you're in a different universe. The droids are all there, and there's like they're moving and they're actually making those noises. So maybe it's the closest thing to really being inside, to actually being on these different planets.
The scale of this film, as with all Star Wars films, is incredible. Do you ever get used to that, working on those sets?
I'm not in every day on them, you know what I mean? So no, not really. I don't get used to it. No, I think if I was in every day for however many months they film for, that might be a different thing. But for the couple of weeks all told that I kind of drift in and out, all broken up, no, every time you walk on set, there's that wow factor. And it's really nice that I don't get used to it. I quite like that, you know?
Yeah, same. I mean, it's so impressive. You know, the production design is so awe-inspiring. And every time you walk onto one of these sets, it's just like this whole new world that's sort of, you know, there in front of you. It's kind of mind-blowing. And it never ceases to, you know, that you lose it. I think, you know, it would be a shame to lose the innocence of being blown away by such an incredible piece of artistry that we face every day on this.
What was the most challenging day on set, would you say?
Oh, boy. I mean, we had a relatively smooth shoot. I think that the biggest day on set was when we shot the casino set, because we had, like 30 practical creatures with all their puppeteers. We had hundreds of extras in all their amazing costumes and makeup, massive set, and we had like a week to capture it all. That was probably the day I felt the most pressure, just because I could see the dollars cha-chinging every single moment that we were filming. But it was also a blast because of all that stuff, so, you know, that's the trade-off, I guess.
You must be excited to see where the series goes next.
Yeah, to be honest, Ryan's done such an incredible job that I can't even imagine where it goes. You know, there's something about the way that he's put the story together that it just also lives as its own film in a beautiful way too. So I'll be very excited to see what amazing things are in store.
I think Ryan just made such an amazing job about making this not just a thing that feels like a bridge. This is so distinct and such a full story, and so much happens in this, and there's so many surprises along the way. I felt very satisfied at the end of the film. I wasn't just what's going to happen next. But give me a couple months and I'll be really, really wondering. Yeah, a little kick in, and then the next however long it takes will feel like agony. Yeah.
Obviously, it's been announced that you're about to dive back in. I mean, I know you can't give away anything, but I mean, how are you prepared for all that? You feeling good about it?
I'm feeling great. That's the thing. I don't feel like drained coming out of this. I actually feel really energized coming out of this process, and so I feel like ready to jump in. And the possibility of, I mean, this new trilogy we're going to do, I'm at the very beginning of coming up with it, but what's exciting to me is just the potential of it, like the fact that it's one story told over 3 movies. We're going to go new places, meet new characters, wide open blue sky. It's just, I don't know. I find it very, very exciting, actually. I'm ready. Let's do it. Come on. Right now.
going to go the way you think.